So, what do you have in your home that brings down your stress level and gives you fuel going forward through the next week, through the next month? I'd love to hear your thoughts and to see if I can learn something as well. How do you keep the joy going from one trip to the next trip? How do you reduce stress and how do you strengthen bonds with your family? I'm going to talk a little bit about how I think we do that here in our home and something that I stumbled upon that is so critically important to me, as well as a couple of places that I feel like everybody should try to get to at least once in their lifetime. And they're not your typical destinations. There's something a little bit different about each of them. So here we go. I'm standing in front of a US map that is titled The True Family Travels. So this is our family's map of where we've been in the US. It's designated by all these little red magnetic pins on a hard, really nice board with a nice frame around it. It happens to sit right next to our television, which is right here, and our sofa is on the other side of the camera over there. So I have found myself all the time sitting on the sofa watching TV and my eyes glance over to here. And I start looking around the board and I start looking at pins and where they're placed. And I think back to what that pin signifies. Maybe it's where a family member lives and I start thinking about that family member. Or my very best friends and where they are in the country. I started thinking about a trip that my wife and I took before we even had kids. Those are beautiful memories. And then I think about where we've been as a whole family, as well as where we might go next. So I have realized that having this map actually out and available, visible, is so cherished and so loved. I absolutely love having this. It's one of my most important pieces that we've got here in our home. So, a few things. This is where we live right here, this big pin, which is in the Chicago suburbs. That's why you see a few more pins around our Midwest area here. I want to say that we've been very fortunate to be able to travel, to be able to go places and get on a plane or rent a car or make a driving trip and to be able to spread out and take time off of work, time away from the daily life. So I really am thankful for that. I want to teach that same thing to my kids. I want to have my kids realize that not everybody can do this and that it's a blessing to be able to go see all these different places, to experience different people, to experience new adventures, and then for them to hold on to those memories. I think that's the critical part, is to actually hold on to these moments and not just lose them. We all get excited when we book a trip, and then we start thinking about what we're going to need to pack, what we're going to need to buy. We're preparing for the trip, and then we're getting really excited. And it's funny how, isn't it just before a trip, that's when you get most of your work done? Like, you never work so hard in all your life as just before a vacation so that you can put it behind you. Well, that's a very exciting time, is getting ready for the trip. And then obviously the trip, hopefully the weather cooperates and it's all you want it to be. And you build some bonds and strengths with the people that you've taken the trip with. And it's just a wonderful experience, and you've captured those moments. This board allows me to reflect back on those so that they stay fresh in my mind. I can remember certain trips from 20 years ago by looking at a pin and just kind of recalling who I was with and what we were doing. It means so much to me. Now, also, this helps us plan or to figure out where might we go next. We look at open areas of the board and figure out what we might want to see. For example, this summer, we're headed up here to Maine. We have not been to Maine. So we're going to be going to Portland and Bar Harbor and Acadia National Park. This is a trip our son picked out because he's always wanted to go see that. The rest of us do as well. So we're going to be adding a couple of pins up there this summer, which is terrific fun. And speaking of Maine, if anybody has any information on Maine or what we should definitely do or things to avoid in the Bar Harbor, Portland, Maine area, let me know. I'm always looking to get a little tip to keep us out of trouble or to enhance our trip and make it that much better. So a couple of high points that, really mean a lot to me. My wife and I took an anniversary trip up to Victoria Island. That one means a lot to me. I can remember my son on his first trip to the Wisconsin Dells and him only being a little 2-year-old, and he's marching down the hallway saying march, march, march with a little bucket hat on and a swimsuit. That sticks in my head. I absolutely adore that and love that. I can remember going with friends to visit a new city, Miami, Nashville, Montreal. That stuff just means so much to me. I'm going to list 3 places that I think everybody should try to visit in their lifetime at least once to experience something a little bit different. These are unique places, hard to find something just like it somewhere else. And they're not the typicals like New York or Las Vegas or California, something a little different. So the first one that I'm going to go with, Yellowstone. Yellowstone is unbelievable. The Grand Prismatic and Old Faithful alone, those 2 elements alone, those 2 destinations alone are phenomenal. And as long as you're at Yellowstone, hit the Grand Tetons. Awesome. So that's your first one. The second one that I'm going to go with is Mackinac Island in Michigan. Mackinac Island sits right in the middle between Lake Huron and Lake Michigan. It's a small island that does not allow any automobiles. It's all horse and carriage. It's all bicycles. And there's a little bit of everything there. You can rent bikes and actually ride them around the island. You can play golf. There's beach. You can throw stones. There's lots of restaurants and bars. There's a little shopping. There's fudge. There's a lot of history because there is Fort Mackinac on Mackinac Island, which was a fort way back in the early 1800s. And it's just chock full of a variety of different things. And it takes you back in time. It's very unique. So I love Mackinac Island. We've been there several times. It's one of my favorite places to go to just unwind and kind of relax. Good midsummer. Not so great in the winter. Don't go there in the winter. Okay, my third, and this one is a bit difficult. You can't just say, I'm going there today and get a ticket and book a flight and go do it. This is something that you've got to either really pay for or you got to get really lucky. So my third spot is right there. It's Augusta, Georgia. And it's not just the city of Augusta, Georgia, specifically Augusta National Golf Club, where the Masters is held. That is a tough destination to get to. You have to get lucky with entering the lottery to get tickets to go, or you got to really know somebody and try to get in there when it's off season. But I would say go during the Masters tournament. And those tickets are really expensive to get. But if you ever have a chance to go to the Masters at Augusta National, jump on that opportunity. Even if you're not a golfer, the course is immaculate. It's gorgeous. The buildings are stunning. The ambiance and the feel of it is incredible. The history is enormous. I think it is a very, very special place. And if you can get to the Masters on Augusta National, you have hit a very special destination here in the U.S. So, you guys tell me, what am I missing? Where do you think one of my future pins for my family should be? Do you agree with the ones that I've listed off? Do you say, no way, I got a better one? So do you guys agree with those 3 picks? Are there others that are better? Tell me what I'm missing. Tell me where you don't see a pin and you say, oh, he has not been to blank. His family needs to go here. Jeff, go to this spot. You'll love it. Let me know what you guys think and where you're headed.